Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Jacob Wild too.
And welcome to the very first Nickelodeon-based episode of Tiki's Universe, the show where we react and respond to a myriad of cartoon programming, including Rick and Morty, Star vs. the Forces of Evil, DuckTales, woohoo! And right now we will be discussing the very first episode of Nickelodeon's new, hopefully smash hit TV show, because I really, really like what I'm seeing from this show so far. Welcome to the Wayne. Yeah, some people have called this a Gravity Falls ripoff. I call it a good kind of spiritual successor to Gravity Falls. I mean, I think obviously Gravity Falls must have been going through their minds when they created this thing. Like, the influence is there for sure, especially with the siblings, the sibling dynamic. But I think the show definitely strikes an identity for itself. And it's got, like, already in the first episode, it's got me really intrigued on the world building. It's got a different flavor than Gravity Falls. Like, Gravity Falls really built on, like, the whole, like, small town urban legends and stuff like that. This feels like a more cosmic thing. Like, this almost feels like a kid-friendly version of Rick and Morty or something like that. What do you think, Jacob?
Yeah, I do kind of have to agree with pretty much all your statements. Like, that's pretty much like people deriding it for months, like, oh, it's just they're ripping off Gravity Falls, blah 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 blah. You know, like, without even like really watching it, like not even really giving it a chance. But when I watched it, I kind of was like, I can obviously see the similarities.
I can totally see the Gravity Falls influence, and I'm sure the creators were kind of inspired by Gravity Falls, but I don't think it's a ripoff.
But honestly, is that a bad thing in my opinion? Though, I mean, it's not like they're completely ripping off everything. Like, it's like I can see that was like a vastly different too.
And Gravity Falls is arguably one of the greatest animated shows of all time. So, you know, it's not such a bad thing to be taking inspiration from something like that.
No, so, hey, I don't know if the show will reach that height just yet, obviously, but like I said, I could definitely say the show definitely has its potential to become a good hit with Nickelodeon for sure.
Yeah, and let's talk about Nickelodeon, because I feel like Nickelodeon is in the middle of a comeback era. Like, Cartoon Network kind of had their comeback era in like the early 2010s with stuff like Adventure Time, Regular Show, stuff of that nature, Steven Universe, of course.
And both those first two shows are ending.
And Steven Universe, I think, has like one more season left. So that's going to be out the door soon as well.
And I think you mentioned during Rick and Morty that that's kind of going through seasonal rot as well.
Wait, what do you mean?
And that he said this current season's like not going so well or something. I don't know if he said. I forget if he said that or not.
I don't think it, like, it took a while for them.
Basically, he said it's not as good as it has been.
Oh no, man! You're okay. You're no. I mean, Rick and Morty. Look, it's season 3 has had 2 episodes.
I'm talking about Steven.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got mixed up. No, you're absolutely right. I think season 4 and going into season 5 of Steven Universe has certainly not been as strong as the first. Seasons 2 and 3, I think, for me, especially season 3 of Steven Universe, was kind of like the big peak of Steven Universe. And then season 4 was good, but not as memorable. And season 5, from what I've seen of season 5 so far, is just like, there's been some real stinkers in season 5, Jacob. Some real stinkers. Like, there's an episode called Rock Naldo, which is awful. It features the worst character on the show in a very prominent role, just doing awful, jerky things to the main characters the whole time. Let's see. There's an episode called Onion Gang, which is about one of the other worst characters of the show. I don't know where Stevie, like, and even the episodes of Steven Universe nowadays that should be heavy hitters don't have the impact of earlier episodes. So what I'm trying to say is that Teen Titans Go happened at Cartoon Network. I mean, let's just be honest here. Let's call a spade a spade. We're like the 12 billionth channel on YouTube to complain about Teen Titans Go, but it's true.
I don't know. I mean, they're kind of going downhill before that.
Well, no, I mean, I'm just saying, like Cartoon Network, like, have you seen? I don't even. I feel like it's just
Pretty
completely.
much,
I feel like it's completely redundant to point out the terrible scheduling of Cartoon Network because literally
pretty
everyone
much,
on the internet who covers animation has pointed that out.
pretty much the only thing that's saving grace now is still Gumball.
Which
I,
I've
I
never
know you're not.
gotten into, but I appreciate that people like it. It's just not really my kind of sense of humor.
I mean, I know it's really good. I know, but back to this show, we kind of a Cartoon Network rant.
Oh yeah, oh
We
yeah.
got our
No.
Cartoon Network. We got the Cartoon Network out of our system.
Well, look. All I'm trying to say is that Cartoon Network isn't slump right now. It's all Teen Titans Go. You know what's sad, Jacob, is like I remember when Over the Garden Wall came out. I think that was like the peak of the Cartoon Network's renaissance because Over the Garden Wall is fantastic. And when that came out, there were ads for it all over Six Flags, right? And then the next year, the very next year, Jacob, there were ads for Teen Titans Go all over Six Flags. I'm done. Rant over. You get the point. Anyways.
Yep.
So welcome to the Wayne. I feel like Nickelodeon is in the middle of a huge renaissance right now because of the Lad House, because I have actually heard good things about recent SpongeBob. I've heard SpongeBob's kind of been in an upswing. SpongeBob's actually doing a Halloween special this year, a stop motion Halloween special that I'm really interested in. And
kind of like the Christmas special they did several years ago.
yeah, that's the idea. It's kind of an episode to complement that. And the Flying Dutchman's going to be in a main role for the first time in forever.
Nice.
For the first time in forever, there'll be Dutchman. Anyways, that's about all. I'll go with that.
and also the upcoming revivals.
Oh, yeah, exactly. No, thank you, Jacob. Thank you. That's a great point because not only are the upcoming revivals happening and they're exciting to 90s kids like myself and you, but more importantly, they show a lot of promise. Like, there's no telling how well they'll actually do, how good they'll actually be. But I've got to say, Nickelodeon killed it at Comic-Con this year with the Jungle Movie and Rocko's Modern Life. I mean, I was just so impressed with everything I saw.
It's a shame they couldn't show any Zim stuff though.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. Zim's less further along in development. Like the Jungle Movie and Rocko have been in development for at least a year, and obviously the Jungle Movie's been in development for about 20 years now. But that's a different story. Oh God, I can't wait. I can't wait.
And if this shows any indication of their new original content, it's a promising sign for Nickelodeon.
It is absolutely. And so I guess what I'm saying, folks, the long-winded way of saying this is I am very, very excited and humble to welcome Nickelodeon into the fold of Tiki's Universe shows. Now,
we would have covered the Loud House, but it's too far along.
No, I was about to bring that up. Yeah, like I wish we would have jumped on the Loud House when we had the chance, but at this point, it's into like season 2 or 3 now.
Like season 2, it's like halfway through season 2.
So, but the Loud House was certainly the show that kind of sparked people's interest in Nickelodeon again.
Like, I mean, I guess we could like dump it on it if they do a season 3, like we're doing with Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I mean, I guess technically that's true, but the thing is, Rick and Morty has just had a lot less episodes.
I guess that's true.
Because the Loud House, I believe the Loud House is like 11-minute episodes, right? So that's a lot of episodes per season.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. This has actually been out for a while. I actually have a little interesting history about this.
Okay, go ahead.
About this section.
Sure.
It actually originated as like their first original web cartoon, like several years ago, like 4 or 5, like about 4 years ago. They actually developed this as a mini web series, like introducing the characters and the concept and everything.
Right. I remember reading about that. Yeah.
Which creator Billy Lopez, based on his childhood of New York, wondering like what was going on in these various large apartment buildings.
It's kind of like Hey Arnold with the supernatural elements cracked up to 11. You know what I mean?
And more emphasis on comedy.
Well, yeah, sure, sure. All right, so
Yeah.
let's get fully into Welcome to the Wayne, folks, because I gotta say, Jacob, you've seen all 5 of the episodes that have been released so far. I'm assuming, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I've only seen this one. I'm a little behind, but oh man, this first episode I think just shows a lot of potential just based on what we've seen from it.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it introduces the characters nice in a way that like makes you feel like, yeah, these characters seem familiar. And I mean, in a way, it's like it's not heavy on exposition, if you know what I mean. It's like they
No,
know each other.
that's exactly what I like about this show is that already we're kind of like in the midst of the story.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't like waste its time focusing on exposition or anything. It just like, as you just said, like gets right into the action, gets right into the stories. Like, okay, it's like it revs up and ready to go from the start.
Yeah,
I mean,
one of my favorite moments that kind of addresses that, Jacob, is when the spy from apartment 8I, is it 8-1 or 8I?
let's say 8I.
8I, okay, just checking, just checking. When the spy from apartment 8I is like, I'm not going to let any kids ruin my plans, and then Ollie's like, "Ah, she remembers us."
Yeah. Yeah, that is. It's like they have like there's history that goes on here. We might uncover more of it as we go on. Either that or was covered in the shorts that were released online.
Sure, sure.
But either way, but either that, I mean, even if you didn't have access to them because they've been gone from the website for quite a while now.
Mhm.
I mean, it's still a good way to reintroduce the characters in a way that feels natural, and doesn't come across as forced, if you know what I mean. Like, because a lot of first episodes is like try to force these characters onto us. Like, it feels like they know each other, they have this interaction already set to go.
Yeah, right. Like honestly, I kind of feel like Milo Murphy kind of suffered from pilotitis a little bit.
Yeah, and then before it got into the whole swing of its own.
Right, because they had that whole thing where Zach was the new kid in school, which is like kind of the cliche storyline to go with, and that kind of I like you said, like we've been saying, this show, it's like, okay, we've got this crazy environment, we've got this kid who's kind of new to the apartment building, but he's been there a while, and we've got basically the Mabel and Dipper stand-ins. Go.
But what I like about the Ollie and Sarah line though is that like they're kind of obviously the stand-ins for the Dipper, maybe for the
I mean, to
Pines.
tell you the truth, I just kind of wish that that their last name wasn't Timbers. That's really my only issue with it, Jacob. It's like, really, you had to go with the whole tree motif.
Well, who knows? Well, maybe that's a bit on the nose.
Although, wait a minute. You know what I'm just realizing?
What?
This show's been out since 2014, and Gravity Falls didn't really hit big until what, like 2015?
Well, Gravity Falls like premiered in 2012.
Oh, it did? Wow.
I think in 2012 or 2013.
That took a long time to air 40 episodes.
Which means like the Wayne. This means like Welcome to the Wayne is probably in development around the time Gravity Falls premiered.
Okay, so I guess in that respect, I don't think this show is just kind of piggybacking off of Gravity Falls.
I mean, for all we know, it could have been. Names could have been changed for all we know. But what I'm trying to say was like, sure, they're obviously like kind of like stand-ins for those characters, but they're different enough from those two, like to make them feel like they're not exact carbon copies of them.
No, they're not. And what I've heard is I've heard kind of like, oh, it's like Dipper and Mabel, except it's gender switched. And it's like, yeah, kind of on like a basic level, in that Ollie is the silly one and Sarah Line is the serious one. But they're still very different characters.
They both have their serious and comedic moments. And I mean, I'm kind of unlike Gravity Falls in a sense.
Oh yeah, for sure,
like,
for sure.
Dipper was always serious, Mabel was always silly, most of the time. And like here, they're a bit more. Well, like I kind of the other thing with Gravity Falls kind of had that too with the whole pilot-itis thing. In a way, I mean, it was a great pilot, but still,
It was a great pilot, yeah.
the whole introduction of it. I mean, all pilots kind of suffer from that. I mean, this show actually, I mean, even this show suffers from it a little bit. I mean, it has to introduce the premise and this weird, outlandish premise in a new way, in a way that feels different.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it does a good job of it. And honestly, I think the whole Gravity Falls connection kind of makes it easier for audiences to jump into the premise in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. It's like it kind of. I mean, I guess it might have even helped me a little bit. I mean, subconsciously, but
sure.
I mean, I just went. I just went into this show. So I was like, willing to give it a chance. Once you suggested that, it's like okay, it's on Nickelodeon. I might as well just give it a look.
And like I said, the main thing that drew me to it was that it kind of like it was going to be a serialized show, which means we could talk about plot elements and mysteries and everything, which is always good for Tiki's universe, and also obviously the Nickelodeon element.
Yeah, so that's kind of what said okay, I'll give it a look. I mean, I didn't even watch a trailer for it before I watched it. Really, I just jumped in.
Right.
But as I said, it definitely intrigued me, and I like. For the longest time, only the pilot was this episode was available on there, and the various characters and elements. Like, okay, this is actually pretty damn good. And judging from the sound of things, it's a general consensus. It's actually not as bad as people were initially making it out to be.
Right. And I don't know why people are like it's a good show. You know what I mean? It's
I think that whole. I think that particular hype train died down once they actually saw the show and realized that it's actually quite different and has its own identity.
All right, so I guess let's. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What I'm saying is I've seen a lot more positive feedback since the show's actually premiered.
That's good, and honestly, I could kind of understand if you're going just on this episode. I mean, I haven't really, like I said, I haven't seen the other episodes that have been released, but I imagine as the episodes go on, it probably, establishes more and more of an identity for itself outside of just oh, it's Gravity Falls.
Yeah, it's it actually has introduces a very different takes on these different creatures. But I won't really. I wanted to say something, but I won't.
All right. Okay, I guess the way I want to approach breaking down the episode is I don't want to go beat by beat. I kind of like to go by through characters. So I don't know. I got to say the character of Ansi is probably my least favorite character.
Well, he's the new guy.
Exactly, which kind of makes him just kind of an eyes of the audience type character who I don't know. He's got some interesting things going on with him. I like how his family moves a lot. So, and the Wayne is kind of he's kind of reluctantly growing to like the Wayne and, Ollie and Sarah and everything like that. I like how it's kind of just I like how Ollie and Sarah kind of just trap him into hanging out with them and to a certain extent.
Well, the later episodes actually do elaborate on that part a little bit, in which they actually do they're actually just basically what they do here, training him to become a new member of Team Timbers. They do actually they actually do care about his friendship and all that. That's pretty much what they're doing. Pretty much what he's doing. He's learning his way around the Wayne and learning to be a member of Team Timbers.
So I guess like I said, he's kind of like the audience avatar character, which it just kind of makes him a little bit generic. I don't know.
Well, I will kind of say that. I mean, he does come into his own. He has his own little quirks as it goes on.
That's good. I believe you. Kind of like Zach.
Kinda, yeah.
Like one of the best parts of Zach from Milo Murphy is his whole boy band past. and that doesn't even come into prominence until the last third of the season.
That was great.
Anyways, so I'm expecting kind of a similar thing with Ansi, because Zach is very much the equivalent to Ansi for Milo Murphy.
Well, I mean,
Okay,
I can't say something that drastic has happened to him yet. I mean, I'll have to rewatch them again.
dude, you're gonna have to stop just beating around the bush with these cryptic hints, man. All right, it's like let's
I
just
mean, no, no,
concentrate on this episode.
no, I'm being serious. I can't really remember.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I wasn't sure if you were being cryptic or not. Like,
I mean, like
oh,
I
I
say, I need to
can't
rewatch.
say whether or not it's a mystery.
No,
Ooh,
I was trying to get to
spooky.
that. I can't really remember if he does or not. I mean, if
All
there's
right, my
any.
bad. My bad. Okay.
But onto the two redheaded children.
Yeah, Sarah Line is definitely my favorite character of the show so far. I mean, I've just I don't know. I
even
just
after
love.
watching the five, even after watching the five, I definitely still agree with you on that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's fantastic, and I gotta say, Jacob, very relatable to me on a really personal level because I'm just gonna admit it. I still suck my thumb from occasion because of anxiety. So I get the struggle, girl. I get the struggle. I'm right there with you.
I can't say I agree. I can't say I'm not agree, but I can't say I suck my thumb. But there are other things I probably do to give my anxiety. Like I talk to myself a lot and everything.
Right. Well, I don't know. Like I said, it's just like a very specific quirk that she has that I like really comes into prominence, at least in this episode.
Another quirk that I have that she kind of has like I like try to convince myself I'm more mature than I am, then I immediately do something that counteracts it.
which is great throughout the episode.
It's like I will convince him I'm mature. Now, like, come on, Mr. Scooty Dragon Face.
Now, Jacob, I think by far the storyline that's set up that I'm most interested in following is this whole rivalry between her and Jonah Bishop.
It's not more of a well, I said that hasn't been the rivalry hasn't been explored in the further episodes. Really, I mean, he does make an appearance, but it's more like Ollie's worship of him.
All right, but I don't know. First of all, let's just give it props. Like I really like the Jonah Bishop character. And like I said, Jacob, come on, man. Like I haven't seen the other four episodes, so just leave a little bit to my imagination. Like every time I bring up a character, don't
Sorry.
tell me, don't tell me what episodes they're going to be in. Just I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to chastise you. It's just, anyways.
It's temptation.
Well, just resist the temptation, man, because yeah, I don't want this conversation to be all about you cryptically teasing. I want to focus on the first episode.
Okay, let's do that then.
Yeah. Okay. No, I mean Jonah Bishop just from the pilot. It's I just love the setup for this guy. He's kind of like this. He's almost kind of like an Indiana Jones type. You know what I mean? Where he's this professor who comes and goes and is on like kind of ambiguous adventures as he comes and goes, and he's kind of like world renowned. I like the setup for him, and I'm sure like he has a lot of story potential, and like even if they haven't fully explored it in the first 5 episodes yet, I'm sure that they'll get to it down the line.
Most likely. I mean, he's kind of one of those characters that they probably won't waste too much potential with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And as I already said, the spy from Apartment 8I is definitely. I get the feeling she's again, Jacob. Please don't tell me what she's going to be doing in the next 4 episodes, but I get the feeling that she's going to be rather antagonistic. She's going to be probably the main rival. I don't know, Jacob. I'm kind of getting the feeling I probably should have just watched the first 5 episodes before we talked about this show. I'm sorry. That's my bad. And I also want to apologize to the audience for that. Forethought, people. Forethought. Anyways.
No, it's fine. Like I said, I'll just say I can't tell you or something like that.
All right. Jacob, we've seen like 1 minute of screen time from this guy so far. I know he shows up more in the future, but I'm really liking Masterson.
Masterson's pretty interesting in a way. Like they don't like how they even in this episode they use like seriousness to comedic effect.
And that's the thing I like, Jacob. Like I love comedically serious characters, like early Squidward, like seasons 1 through 3 Squidward, priceless. Squid's Day Off, best episode of SpongeBob, in my opinion.
and people like Frank Drebin in a way.
I'm sorry, what?
Police squad, Naked Gun.
I'm
So
sorry.
that's
I'm not familiar with that franchise. I'm sorry. And it's one of my blank
right,
spots on my pop culture resume.
He's like a deadpan. It's like comically, it's like almost completely unaware, but he's like completely deadpan and serious about everything.
Sounds kind of like the opposite of Austin Powers when it comes to a spy spoof.
Well, it's more police, but yeah.
Oh, really? I thought Naked Gun was a spy movie. My bad. You see, that's how little I know about it. Anyways.
Yeah, but like I said, we don't really know a lot about Masterson yet.
Yeah, I love the voice actor. I love the design. He's kind of like got this classic like 1950s Men in Black aesthetic to him.
And I like the 2 different colored eyes.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that too. Right, with the sunglasses and everything. Good stuff. The character. Yeah, I was about to say I'm not a fan of this character so far.
Like I've had some pretty wicked gas.
I'm like, you're gonna start on a fart joke, really? That's how you introduce us to this guy?
Well, I mean, I don't know how much. Like I said, he hasn't made another appearance so far. I mean, that much I can say.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I don't know.
I'm not a big fan of him.
So I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. So
he just
Jacob,
he just seems like an ordinary guy wrapped up in this conspiracy.
I guess that's kind of the gag of him. And let's be honest with the Gravity Falls references. He's kind of the Seuss.
I mean, maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. Anyways. Oh boy. Gee.
I don't think we mentioned Ollie yet.
I guess we haven't. We kind of just skipped over him. I like what I've seen. I like what I've seen from him so far. He's a little bit, like I said, I think I like Saraline a lot more out of the 2.
Oh yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I agree with Saraline.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, Jacob. I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm out of it with this podcast, man. I've had a migraine all day. I feel like I'm blowing it. I'm getting like performance anxiety here, people. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, maybe you can talk about like the rest, like some of the maybe let's get to Sleepyhead then, like Sleepyhead himself.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I just love the all the settings, like that big room that's full of interdimensional portals.
Like I think it's just like portals that lead to other areas of the Wayne, like because like the Wayne is huge, so apparently for some reason there's a huge transportation system everywhere.
Okay, you see, I need to go back and watch that part because for some reason I thought it was dealing with like interdimensional. Maybe I've just got Rick and Morty on the brain.
I mean, it could have something to do with other dimensions for all we know. I mean, the Wayne is a mysterious building.
No, but I like I like your idea a lot better though, Jacob, and I'm sure that's probably more in line with what's actually going on. Is just the fact that it's such a huge building that there's this like really intricate network of tunnels and different monsters and stuff. It's like that's the kind of thing, that's the kind of setting where it's like you can get so much story potential out of something like that. I'm really looking forward to seeing that explored more.
And whoever controls the Wayne controls the world.
That's such a good setup line too, right?
Yeah, and like why is that also raises the question, why is the Wayne the way it is? Like why, if you control the Wayne, why do you control the world?
It's such a good hook. That's such a good hook for the show, I think.
It is.
Yeah, before we talk about Sleepyhead, Jacob, let's talk about the stanza, which I love this location.
The library.
Oh my god, I love this location. I love the design of it. I love the giant whale things that are flying around. I'm kind of guessing that we're going to get a whale, like there's a mention of a whaler in a new episode, so don't tell me either way, but I'm kind of guessing those whales might come back into play. Just a guess. I know you can't say anything. So no, the stanza was definitely kind of like the big that was definitely the part of the world building that really drew me in, especially upon the reveal that Ollie and Saraline have been looking for it for years. And, and Jonah Bishop is also looking for it. And, and Ansi kind of just stumbled upon it. Like, that's some really good narrative. Like I said, this is one of the good things that this episode really does. Is it puts, it kind of like plants the flag of a lot of good stories. It kind of has a lot of good hooks to it that makes you want to come back. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jacob. Go ahead.
No, I mean, that's pretty much what I was saying. Like, I kind of agree with you on that. Like, I agree with, like, the whole world building and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Stanza will most likely play an important part in the series' future. I mean, especially if like Jonah Bishop and Team Timbers have been looking at for a long time.
That's what I'm saying. That was like, it was a really cool location, and then we get that reveal about it. Oh man.
The question is though, like, how did everybody even know about it? That's not as important as like anything else, but this is what I want to know. Like, how did they learn about this?
No, I mean, you're right. It's, again, I think that show, like, this episode does a good job of kind of, that's another good example of, like, in another series, Jacob, I kind of feel like we'd be introduced to the library through Ollie and Timberline learning about it, right? But no, I think that's actually one of the best things about the storytelling with this first episode is that, since we're kind of following Ansi as kind of the avatar character, Ollie and Timberline, like I like how Ollie and Timberline's story is already like very much in the way. What?
It's Saraline.
Have I been saying Timberline?
Yeah, for the last like few times, yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh God. Again, migraines, people. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm not trying to bag on you, Tiki.
No, I know. I'm banging on myself because I feel like my performance in this podcast has been really poor. Anyways.
That's fine.
No. But yeah, like I said, I just really appreciate that Ollie and Saraline have this like rich history with this building, and there's a lot of stuff we don't know. That's as I said, I keep using this word, but that's a good hook to draw us in.
And I also like how it gives like an explanation as to like why like they are why they are like how they have all the high tech gadgets and stuff. Like their dad is a toy designer, but their mom is like this secret agent kind of person.
I can't wait to meet the dad, by the way, because he's voiced by the legendary Richard Kind, Bing Bong himself.
Oh, nice. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. I'm reading it on Wikipedia, so it has to be true. Bring It On reference. I'm so sorry. Anyways. Okay. Yeah, I'm so sorry. That was a bad joke. Anyways.
I do it the hook and all world building and all that jazz.
Yeah, and Sleepyhead was a good kind of monster to start with. I like the sting at the end where he can kind of regenerate himself. I'm not a huge fan of the design.
And the whole purple gas thing.
Right.
If you notice, it also came out of the logo in the opening and came out of the logo in the opening theme song.
I'm sure there's a lot of Easter eggs in the opening theme song, much like Milo Murphy. That kind of get revealed over time.
A little bit.
Okay. Well, I think we're kind of wrapping up on things to say about this, Jacob. Like I said, to tell you the truth, I probably shouldn't have even done anything tonight because it's just been a long and stressful day, and I've had a migraine all day, and I probably wasn't in the best condition, but I just really want to move forward with Tiki's Universe as one of the main fixtures of the channel. There's a lot of upcoming programming. We're a little bit behind on it. We still need to talk about Star vs. Force of Evil, for Christ's sake. There's like 8 new episodes out. we're gonna do that, folks. We're gonna do that the next time we go on to Tiki's Universe. So look for that soon. Jacob, I'm sorry. Any final thoughts you want to add about this episode? I'm kind of ending it a little abruptly here.
Hey, well, I'll just say this: like, if the rest of the series going forward remains as good or gets better than this, I will definitely be enjoying my stay at the Wayne.
Oh yeah. All right, folks. So thanks so much for tolerating this very rough episode of Tiki's Universe. I don't know. I don't want to self-criticize too much. We were fine.
Yeah, we did good.
Good conversation. It's kind of funny, Jacob. I feel like the conversations in this podcast that we had around the show were good, but then we kind of were stumbling through talking about the show itself. But the next time we talk about the show, Jacob, I'm going to give you the liberty of watching the remaining 4 episodes so that we're not just playing the guessing game the whole time. All right? Because that's my fault, not yours. I want to just want to point that out there. I feel bad for kind of like calling you out on it, but I just had to, because it was just kind of a poor planning on my end.
And also, are we gonna do those as individual podcasts, those two?
I think we will. Yeah, as long as a new block of like 5 episodes doesn't show up in the next couple weeks,
And don't take our half-ass conversation as like indication of the show's quality or anything.
Oh God, no.
We legitimately do enjoy this.
If people took half-ass conversation as a sign of a show's quality, then Gotham would be canceled long ago. Anyways,
well, hopefully this show doesn't get. Hopefully, if this is any indication, hope this show doesn't get the early axe.
No, I'm rooting for this show, definitely, and I think Nickelodeon, like I said, Nickelodeon is kind of like in a space now where they're being really friendly with their creators. They're really letting their creators kind of have creative freedom now. Whereas Cartoon Network is just kind of very cynical. So,
Nickelodeon's I think they're starting to take risks again.
Yeah, absolutely, which I think is very much paying off for them. It's like it's been so long since I've been invested in anything that's come out of Nickelodeon. So long. So it's nice to have a show that shows this much potential. All right.
I mean, even if it is even if it built like a Gravity Falls successor, I mean, it got its attention and people were actually liking it now. So maybe it wasn't such a bad thing to be compared to it at first.
Yeah, to be fair, I think the true successor to Gravity Falls is probably Star vs. Force of Evil, just in terms of the storytelling and the fandom and everything.
Well, yeah,
but
and the fact that it's on the same channel,
and the fact that Star is basically I'll never forget the first time I was introduced to Star vs. Force of Evil. It was a Rebel Taxi video where Rebel Taxi was Pan Pizza was basically acting like a drug dealer, like, "Hey kids, you like Mabel? You want an extra fix of Mabel Pines? Do you want better? Mabel Pines is like a whole series? Then watch Star versus the Forces of Evil." Now, I'll admit, the series has definitely grown beyond that, but the first few episodes were very much Star was very much in kind of Mabel Pines mode.
But better.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, not better.
Well, she got better.
Yeah, I'm just saying, Mabel Pines is one of my favorite animated characters of all time, so. Anyways. Okay, folks. So, yes, like I said, we're kind of going to be rotating through the different shows we're covering here on Tiki's Universe. We will be back with a review of the Battle for Muni, which was the 8-part event for Star vs. Forces of Evil. Then we will be covering Welcome to the Wayne and Rick and Morty. Pickle Rick! I can't wait for Pickle Rick, Jacob. I can't wait.
Tomorrow.
No, that's not tomorrow. That's Sunday.
I thought it was Friday.
I'm pretty sure it's Sunday.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, I'll check. I'm the last new Rick and Morty episode came out on Sunday, so pretty sure it's Sunday. But let me just.
Well, I thought I saw something that said August 4th.
Nope, it's August 6th.
Okay, I guess it might have been something else on the 4th.
Could be. Anyway, so yeah, we will be, Rick and Morty, DuckTales when that comes out. Can't wait for that. Big Hero 6 when that comes out. So yeah, very busy time on Tiki's Universe, folks, and we will try to keep up with it all, and we will try to maintain a level of quality with these podcasts that is higher than what we just exhibited right here.
Yeah, we tried our best.
Well, like I said, Jacob, it's mostly just it's poor planning on my end. I really should have just watched all the episodes before. It's really not your fault at all. So
I know, and I shouldn't have brought the.
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're all good.
Good.
It's all good in the hood. All right.
All good in the Wayne.
Oh, yeah. All right. See you guys.